My name is Ninamarie Sapuppo, and I'm a math teacher here at Florida High. Basically what we were trying to do is to do a sampling to compare how many M&Ms are brown, yellow, orange, red, blue, to see if we could get how close to the true population that the manufacturer makes of those different colored M&Ms. The kids, of course, love the M&Ms. I really liked, that they were working with something that was real life, and I loved the way it forced them. They were motivated to work through the math, but to also be able to figure out the sampling portion. That motivated them to work through fractions, decimals, and percents. It really brought out the misconceptions and allowed us to really deal with that at the time, and they were motivated to figure that out finally. After we poured the M&Ms down, then they took the quadrat and they were to toss it down. So that was going to be their sample space right there, all the M&Ms within the quadrat. So they did that, counted the numerator, was how many of each color, denominator was the total within the quadrat. And then they did that for each color, converted that to percent, then they picked it up and they tossed it down again, and they did it 3 times. So that gave them the results 3 different times. And we talked about this would be their habitat, because it models how this might be done for animals or plants in real life. And you wouldn't want to disturb the organisms or the plants. So then once they did it 3 times, then they took the average of them. So then they were asking, how do I do the mean again? And then they'd say, I add them all together, and then somebody would be like, oh, we divide by 3 because we had 3 trials. So that reminded them how to find the mean. And then even checking that all of their percentages should add up to 100 within all of each trial reminded them again about the whole sample was 100% of the M&Ms. I gave them the population data, the actual data that when they go to make the M&Ms, what percent they truly make for each color. And I think that was something new to them. They never thought about that it's programmed and it's not programmed to be equal, which I would have thought it would have been more equal. We'll pool all of our data together, all of the averages, and then we'll get a class average. And from that, we want to compare how close is that to the true population data. The goal is that they would recognize that more and more samples should merge closer to the true population. So it's going to give us a lot of opportunities to talk about mistakes and the way the results from statistics could be a little bit skewed or could not be accurate. We also can talk about how close our results end up, to the population, and why ours probably won't be exactly all of them. We might have 1 or 2. We might not, and it might be. I did this with 3 classes, so it'd be interesting to see the 3 different classes, and then we could average the 3 classes and see what happens with that. That will give us more trials, and again, driving home the other idea of the more sampling that you do, the closer to the true population you are likely to get. I showed them some pictures of how the quadrats are used in real life. There was like a picture of even on the ocean floor, how they had marine biologists might use it, and how different scientists might be using this, and how they wouldn't want to really disturb the habitat, but they're trying to calculate within a certain area. They're trying to figure out the population density. This is from the 3D printing, and we just use unsharpened pencils, 4 pencils and 4 corners, and so it just makes a nice, easy quadrat. That's something you can put together and take apart real easily. Even my most difficult class, at the end of the day, they're all tired and they have a hard time focusing. They were so engaged and really working together. I heard conversations that I hadn't heard before, students that usually are very excitable and have a hard time sitting still, were sitting still, working. So there's just a lot of action, a lot of learning going on. It was really, really good. And they liked it. I had a student that asked for more. Can we do more things like this? More. It was not even just because of the M&Ms, but because it was so interactive. And I really think it's because they were really motivated and they were forced to face that. There's a multi-level, a lot of learning in this that I did not even expect.